welcome to a new art project. For today's project, you're gonna need one piece of white cardstock, the handout that has only these weird dots. You have one that has a bunch of little dots, and then a second one with only 6 dots. So take that handout out. You're gonna need your Staedtler 2B pencil and watercolor. If you have, please get a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use any kind of cardstock that you can find. Like I have leftover cardstock, and as long as one of the edges is still clean, you can use that. Or maybe even like a gift card, anything that will help you trace straight lines. If you don't have anything, don't worry, you can totally do it without a ruler. Since we're going to be working with watercolor for the second part of the project, you will be needing some water and maybe a paper towel just in case we spill. So let's begin. So for today's lesson, we're going to be playing a little bit with shades and shapes. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of shading, like you see in my samples here, and we're gonna draw straight on our paper. In the second part, you're gonna use the big guide sheet to recreate a color wheel 3D illusion cube. So let's do the first part, which is just the shading, and you just need your first handout. So take those apart and grab your pencil, and let's begin. So the purpose of this lesson is for you to know some of the tools in the art world, which are our pencils. And there's different kinds of pencils. The one that we use in the classroom, usually it's an HB, and it's hard. There are pencils that can be 6H, which makes them even lighter and super hard to draw with them. So architects use those pencils because lines are really easy to erase and really fine. And then there's like the 2B that we're using now up to the 8B, and that means they're more darker and softer, so you can do more shading with those. So we're gonna be doing some shading, and we're gonna recreate cubes. So let's begin. Let me move that away. By making sense of this bunch of dots that we have here. So we're just gonna work with the first bunch of circles. So dots, these are on your top left corner. So as long as you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are the ones we're gonna use. The first one, I'm not gonna use a ruler, just so you realize we don't really need a ruler. This pencil can make really dark lines and smudges quite a lot. But if you press really gentle, you get a not so much dark gray. And we're gonna try to create a very light gray, a medium gray, and a really dark gray for our shapes and create the illusion of light and perspective. So connect the first 2 dots on top, just like that. Now we're gonna connect this one with this one. If you have a ruler, go ahead and use it. It's gonna make it easier for you. Now I'm gonna connect these 2. I know these dots are hard for you to see. That's why I'm pressing down my pencil really dark. So now I have a geometrical shape, and it's bidimensional, right? We're gonna transform this bidimensional shape into a 3-dimensional cube. So we need to connect all the opposite dots to find the middle of our shape. You can do it with ruler. I'm just doing it without a ruler, so you know that, it's not gonna be so difficult to do without a ruler. Now I have an hexagon divided in 6, right? 6 corners, that's why it's called an hexagon. And now I'm gonna come up with a cube from this. So I'm gonna outline this edge, this side and this side, and I can see here I have a square, and I'm gonna erase this line right here. Erase. This is just a practice sheet, so don't worry about making it making notes or doodling on it. Now I'm gonna keep this line right here, and I'm gonna erase the other two. So keep one, delete, keep one, delete, keep one, delete, alternating. And there you go. We just created a cube. That's our first shape. So now if my light, my sunshine or my candle or my light bulb, it's right here, this is gonna be very bright because it's exposed to a lot of light. This one is gonna be a medium and this one is gonna be dark. So I am making the decision where to place the light. So I'm gonna start with the dark one because it helps me loosen up my hand. I know I don't have to control it that much because I'm actually pressing down a lot. I'm trying to keep my drawing on only one side. So I rather rotate the paper than my hand, just so I can hide my strokes better. And I work careful through the edges. Try not to rotate my pencil and cover the entire cube. The idea is for you to be able to hide all the strokes. Now that you have that, you can even smudge to even that color. So now we have a really hard dark gray. Let's go have the pressure on the pencil. So I applied a lot of pressure here. Now I'm gonna go half. So I'm gonna just rub gently the paper, gently. I'm going more of a round motion. And smudged. I don't know. Now this one I'm not gonna paint. I'm not gonna color it. I'm just gonna use the leftover graphite from my pencil, and I'm gonna dirty up the paper like this. So now see, this one and this one should be more noticeable to tell apart. So I'm gonna darken this one a little bit more without getting that as dark as the other one. So I'm gonna just apply another layer very gentle, careful. I mean, you don't wanna get two really dark shades here. So the goal for you today is to be able to count 3 different shades. 1, 2, 3. Smudged. And now you can even use your pencil to sharpen your margins to make your shape pop. And there you go. We just did some 3-dimensional cube and the illusion of light by applying different pressure on our pencils. Let's go to the next one because it's gonna get even better. Again, now this time I will use the ruler so you can see the difference between that. I love using rulers and compasses to make circles, but I didn't figure out yet how to use it with inches. I'm used to using just centimeters. That's why I didn't. There's some lessons that I didn't do with them. Connect the dots. Make sure you align your ruler. Now I can actually make my lines with less pressure because I'm not the one who's making the straight lines. The ruler is guiding me, so I can just really go easy on it. So that's if I have a ruler. If I don't have a ruler, as I showed you before, you can actually just use a piece of paper. If it's cardstock, it's gonna be enough. All you need to make sure is that it's long enough to reach to the ends. So align your dots. Find your middle. And now we're gonna make a cube inside of a cube. So we're gonna go for this shape right here. So now you can see that depends how you look at it. The cube can be standing like this or like this. So that's the illusion we're going for. You're gonna try to aim for the middle of your square. So between this dot and this middle ground, you're gonna go for the middle of it and just make 6 marks. You don't have to measure this. If you have a ruler and you want to be super precise, go ahead and measure that. If this is 2 inches, the middle will be around 1. Okay, I'm not gonna go with that, but I will use my ruler to connect those dots, just because I want to show you the difference between using the ruler and not using the ruler. It's not a big deal, especially because this is just a practice sheet for fun, to introduce you to shading. Okay, so now the same principle applies with 1 cube, but now we have double cubes in here. So I'm gonna erase my first line just up to there, keep this one, delete this one, erase that one, alternating, keep this one, delete this one, keep that one. Oops, keep that one. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the inside cube, but I'm gonna if I deleted this one, I'm gonna keep the opposite one, keep that one, delete this one, keep that one, delete this one, keep this one, and delete that one. Just like magic, you just made a cube inside of a cube. And now let's just repeat the same exercise, but here the trick is, I'm gonna actually make this one the darker now because I made a mistake here. Start with the darker line and only color the outline wall of your cube. Go slow. I'm gonna go quick because I don't want to make this video too long. We still have to do the whole second part. Now, when I'm gonna be rubbing my hand, I don't want my hand to smudge all my drawing, so I usually rotate my paper to the cleanest corner. That way I'm not worried about smudging too much. So now if I make this one, the dark one, on the small cube, let me take this out of here. On the small cube, I'm gonna do the opposite wall. Oopsie. As I was saying, if this is my dark wall, I'm gonna make this one, the opposite one, the darkest on this smaller cube inside. I'm gonna make it as dark as I can. And I'm gonna be very careful on the edge, because since we're doing geometry, it's very important to have sharp, straight lines. Now, I'm gonna choose another wall and I'm gonna go with the medium color. I even wanna sometimes brighten this up a little bit. Got too dark there. Okay, not getting distracted there. So I'm gonna go with this wall and I'm gonna do the second tone. Half the pressure. See how I'm doing kind of like a round movement? I'm really just rubbing gently the pencil against the surface. Gently, gently. My hand moves quick, but I'm applying very little pressure. Smushed. And repeat that in the opposite wall. So I'm gonna go this way and repeat that round, gently, half pressure on the other side. Okay? You can keep this one white or smush it, but if I don't smush it, I get a more drastic effect. So we just create illusion of depth and perspective, light and shade, just using one tool, our pencils. And there you go, that's it. So you still have 2 more dots that you can play around. For example, on this one, I did the whole shape, but I I erased these lines only on one corner of my cube. So now it creates a different visual effect. And in this one, instead of connecting with straight lines, I made them round. And I just play around with the shape. Let's go to the next. On this one, I even create a little human inside the cube, and I try to make a little shade there. So now we're gonna go to the second part of our lesson. I hope you enjoy doing shading. Now we're gonna do painting, and we're gonna recreate the color wheel. So we're gonna use our watercolors and a cardstock paper, white, to recreate the color wheel. And we're gonna use the inside cube to talk about the primary colors and the mix of these two for the secondary color. And let me tell you how to do that. So there's 2 ways to do this next step. First, you need your sample sheet that has only the 6 big squares dots right here. I'm gonna make them dark so you can see, but you don't have to do this part. It's just for, oh, where's my Sharpie? There. These are our dots. I hope you can see them better now. So there's 2 ways to transfer these dots into your paper. We're not gonna do it on paper because watercolor will, on this photocopy paper, will soak it up a lot and it will wrinkle a lot. So I wanna transfer that to cardstock. So the way I would do it, I would put this one underneath the cardstock, and I will go to a window where the light that is coming from the outside will show me where the dots are. Since I cannot show you that option right there because of the filming thing, I'm gonna show you a second way to do this. I'm gonna put my sample sheet on top of my cardstock, and if I have a pen or a pencil, it's best if you have a pen. I'm just gonna press down on those dots, leaving a very light mark on my cardstock. So you obviously won't be able to see this part, but I can see where the marks are on my paper. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my gift card or my cardstock or my ruler, and I'm gonna connect these 2. And let's make the same sample that I showed you, but big. Now, if you're using a gift card, you're gonna have a problem here because your gift card might not be long enough to connect the middle of your paper. So maybe grab your photocopy paper, fold it in half, and use that as a ruler. That will work too. Okay, so the first 3 colors, and the only 3 colors we're going to use for the watercolor part, it's yellow, red, and blue, the primary colors. So each side of your cube, it's going to have one of those 3 colors. So just apply the color straight from your tray. Now your paintbrush has a flat edge, so make sure you use that flat edge to your advantage and rotate the paper to make those edges match.
so you keep very straight lines. And work slow, it's really hard to control these straight lines with watercolor. And always rinse your paintbrush when you switch colors. You don't want any contamination on your hands until it's time to mix. And now we're gonna create, prepare or mix our secondary colors. So choose two of your two colors on the cube and mix them together on the palette. So add some water like we always do, create a puddle and start adding some of your color there. Rinse your paintbrush and go to the second color that you need to combine. So in this case, I'm starting with red and blue, those two mix and create color purple, a secondary color. I will be speeding up this process. I want you to take your time to create your hints and your secondary colors, and make sure your strokes are following the lines as much as you can. And rinse your paintbrush every time you need to create a new mix color. Have fun!